Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and I'm going to title this one, You Say DIY Like It's a Bad Thing. And what I find interesting about that is DIY is often used to refer to like low quality or inexpensive or cheap, or referring to somebody who doesn't need quality, doesn't need good tools, shouldn't spend that kind of money. I agree, maybe they don't have to, especially if you're not going to use it all that much, but the term DIY or do-it-yourself, what that is actually referencing is that somebody who is maybe trained and is considered a professional in the field of whatever it is, whether it's auto mechanics or plumbing, HVAC, electrical, installing a swimming pool, landscaping, roofing, whatever the trade skill is, that if you do something outside of what you are a professional at, I consider you a DIYer. So I know professional mechanics, they don't own any Knipex. Why? Because they're not electricians. But if they went out and bought a pair of wire strippers to use for home wiring and started playing around, put in a new light or a switch or something, an outlet, they're a DIYer. But do we say you don't need that stuff? I know you have all cool Snap-on and maybe Knipex tools or something, but the DIY, you don't need professional electrical tools. Go down and get a Craftsman. You're only going to put in a couple outlets and a switch and maybe a ceiling fan, so you don't really need this stuff. It's kind of odd. Or, even worse, when I did the video on this, there were a few comments, nobody needs something like that. You don't need a, whatever the price was, $75, $80 T-handled ratcheting screwdriver. You don't need, nobody, it doesn't matter who you are. Odd. I know professional mechanics who have zero, like vehicle mechanics and heavy equipment mechanics, have no Klein tools whatsoever. None. Why? Because they're not electricians. Or, if you had an electrician and they bought a Snap-on ratchet, would you think, they don't really need that or even maybe deserve it because they're not a professional mechanic. They can get by with something, much less quality. I just find the DIY thing kind of funny, yet while people might say you don't need something like this, everyone and their dog should have a pair of these, period. Is it because these are cheaper? Or why? And when it comes to Craftsman, well, yeah, it's like average quality, average performance, but it sure is nice to have some, different experiences, and that's what I enjoy. But I do find the concept of DIY to be a good thing, not a bad thing. So if an electrician wants to do some of their own plumbing in their house, I literally as a homeowner, property owner, I'm always doing a little electrical, a little plumbing, little roof repair, lots of landscaping, some carpentry, tons of little odds and ends mechanicking. I've installed all kinds of like water heaters and dishwashers, soft water machines. I've played around with AC units, HVAC. I clean furnaces. But I'm not a professional there. Back in college, I was a professional bike mechanic and a professional ski mechanic. And in fact, sometimes I'd be working on somebody's skis, doing a race tune, and they want it detuned. Detuning just means, not as sharp, not as grabby. And I'm looking at it thinking that's the whole point of this ski. And you just neutered it. You just took out any chance that it was going to be able to perform like it should. It's a thoroughbred. But, oh well, you spend a ton of money and you're never going to know what this thing's possible or capable of doing. So I kind of look at DIY that way. As a bike mechanic, people are riding beautiful bikes worth fortunes that have super high performance that is never going to get tapped. But you know what? Good for them. They're enjoying it. So I enjoy working with good tools. I enjoy the nuances of the design and where it's made, and questioning certain features. People have said, you don't need a stiletto hammer, a titanium hammer. How often do you frame up a building? I don't know, once, maybe twice I help. Sometimes I do little odd jobs, in garages or bathroom installs. No, I don't need that. I want that. I like that. So I guess I want to reframe the DIY to make it a good thing. The DIY doesn't necessarily mean you need low quality, inexpensive tools because you're never going to get the full benefit of that tool, or it's going to last you and 5,000 lifetimes of other DIYers. You're not going to wear it out. I hear that a lot, mostly with Snap-on. You don't need it. No, I agree completely. You don't need it. But if you want it, good for you. Go get it. Have fun. I do a lot of hunting, and I know people who have equipment that they hunt with that wildly can outperform any skill they have. But we certainly go out and we enjoy their equipment. So I guess I feel like with DIY, same thing. If somebody wants to spend too much, according to you, on a tool, have at it. But enjoy it. And then make DIY something acceptable. Because no matter who you are, whether you're a rocket scientist, or you've invented cars, you're still a DIYer in a lot of the other things that you do in your life. So get the good tools and enjoy them. In fact, if you have a profession that uses any tool in any direction, you probably understand the reason and the purpose for quality and attention to detail. So there you go. DIY, don't say it like it's a bad thing. Say it like it's a good thing. And with that, Doc out.